There has been so much going on in my life these days that God is so good, is all I can say. There's so much that He's been doing, so much that He's just been taking me through, bringing me through, and just doing for me as well in my life the last couple months. And I am just overwhelmed, and excited even about what He's getting ready to do, and what He's been preparing me for. And y'all, we are at the end of 2024. Can y'all believe that we are literally like 21 days out from 2025? That's crazy. And I feel like we just got into 2024. I feel like it was like just a couple of months ago that we were coming into 2024, or really getting settled in it. But I'm actually glad that it's almost over too, because 2024 did a number, okay? It did a number, but I'll say it did a great number on me. I know a lot of people probably feeling like 2024 really drug their behinds, okay? And I know a lot of people feel like, dang, I had to fight. But when I really look back and thank God, I mean, all I can do is just reflect on what I've learned. And I feel like this has been one of my biggest growth years, and I've learned so much. My relationship with God has grown so much. And so despite the warfare, because we know when it really comes to pursuing purpose and really pursuing a relationship with God, the fight is going to come. We know there's going to be a resistance. Like, nobody's exempt from that. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your call is. I don't care. Nobody is exempt from really coming into that resistance and coming into that fight and having to fight, not just fight the enemy, because a lot of times we say, oh, the enemy this and the enemy that. And I know that we say sometimes we give him too much credit, and we do, because a lot of times what we're fighting is not him, but it's ourselves. And we have found ourselves fighting our own choices, our own decisions, our own pride, and our own things that have made some seasons probably harder than they should have been, more challenging than they should have been or would have been if we had just surrendered. But even still, we thank God. Even still, we thank God, because those seasons still taught us something. And so regardless of everything that I've been through this year, regardless of all the things I've felt, regardless of all the things I've had to fight, all the things I've had to pray, regardless of that, I am thankful, extremely thankful. And one of the biggest things that I have done this year, that I did this year, guys, that even it took me a while, and I fought God on it for a little bit, because I was just like, okay, like I don't know, but it came to be something that I realized that, God, I feel that way because this is a you thing, and this thing pulls me out of my comfort zone, but it pulls me out of my comfort zone into purpose, into exactly what you have promised me, exactly what you've been saying for the last couple of years, since I have come back. That everything that he said from the beginning, from that point, it's bringing me into that. Okay, and so I finally just stopped fighting him on it, and I just let him lead me, and let him bring out what was inside of me, y'all. And I published and released my very first book. Well, it's not my very first book, but it is the one. It's the one that I count as being my first book, according to purpose, I'll say. And it's called Broken Bones Do Heal, y'all. It's on Amazon, and I also have copies of it as well, for sale. But I wrote this book, and for a while, I didn't want to write it, because I felt like, God, I don't really have anything worth saying. One of the things that I kind of grew up feeling, and I kind of just conditioned myself to feel around others, is that what I've been through is not as deep. What I've been through is not as great. What I've been through is not as serious. It's not as traumatic as other people have. I have not experienced certain things. I have not experienced certain things that other people that I know have. And because I hadn't, it made me feel like I didn't have anything to give. It made me feel like, well, you haven't been through enough to tell anybody. But I will say one thing, that if you ever been anywhere that God had to pull you back from, you have enough to tell somebody. Okay, you have enough. You have a testimony. If God has ever had to pull you out of a place of mess, okay, salvation itself, if you ever received salvation and God took you from a place of lowness to a place where he has exalted you and he has really set you right, you have something to tell somebody. And so I had to come to the point, and it really took me, because a lot of that was also me not wanting to deal with the things that, like my traumas and things that I needed to deal with to really push forward, and to be built up, to push forward in my relationship with God, first and foremost, because my intimacy with him, it had to grow. And then I had to kind of come forth, and my identity had to evolve. And I just had to become more confident. And it took writing this book to do that. Because it took what was inside of me, like literally having to come up, and so I can deal with it and then come out. And then using that even just to testify to other individuals. And also in the midst of that, believing that God's grace, who, as he has covered me, and forgiven me even for my past mistakes and things, the guilt and shame that I carried for so long. That's also what kept me from writing. What kept me from writing this, because I share in this book, I share things about myself that some people never knew, that I never told anybody, things that I felt that I never told anyone. I share in this book, and I never share them because some things because of shame, some things because, again, like I just didn't feel like it was really that important, like it was really that big of a deal. And some things I just didn't share because I just was like, nah, I just don't want to be vulnerable in that way. But I had to be vulnerable with this. And the vulnerability, I have recognized now that there's purpose for that. And there's a reason that God needed me to be vulnerable for myself. Because it did something for me. It allowed something in me to become freed, but also for those who are struggling or those who have gone through what I have gone through. Because I tend to think of, and sometimes, we do it, we tend to think of ourselves to be very small and not able to make a big impact. One of the things that even when it comes down to prayer, that I had to get to the point where even when it comes to my intercession, that God, at one point I thought, God, what can my little prayer do for such big issues or seemingly big issues? But he had to really press into me his word that the prayers of a righteous man, they availeth much. And even if it's what you think is a small prayer, it's still moving great things in the spirit. It's still initiating things. It's still doing something. And your faith, you have to believe that. And when you believe that, then you're really going to move some things, and you're really going to move into some places and some spaces where my power, and of course not my power, but the power of the Lord will be able to come through. Because I was looking at it, and I was looking at it as in, what can I do? What can little old me do? And I had to realize that God needs me to be a vessel. Okay, if in his grace is sufficient for me, and in my weakness his power is made complete, is made great, then all he needs me to do is be a vessel, and his power, his great power, is what's going to cause the result to come in whatever situation. And so we have a tendency sometimes to see ourselves to be so small, and to see ourselves as being sometimes not enough, or nobody to an issue, or nobody to a thing. And I saw myself that way until God had to show me, even in the responses that I have gotten about this book from people around me, that just certain things that I spoke about, that I mentioned in this book, have opened their eyes to things. Like, I didn't even realize the impact. I didn't realize that it would have that impact, because I was too busy thinking, well, your story is not good enough, your story is not juicy enough. Your story don't got enough scandal in it, and of course, I believe I have enough. I've had enough scandal in my life, or I've had enough sin or mistake in my life, for myself. But when you look at the world, and when you look at what intrigues people, when you look at what intrigues people on social media, what they see in the celebrity, like when you look at what intrigues people on there, I was comparing myself and what I had to that nobody's gonna want to hear just this little bit. Nobody, no, they want to hear some deep stuff. They want to hear, and then even for those who have been through some things deeper, they're gonna look at me and be like, you ain't even been through what I've been through. Like you know what I'm saying? So I was worried about that, but God has shown me something different, and I'm so thankful that I was obedient and that I went forth and that I did what needed to be done. Because like I said, this was not just for, it wasn't even just for other people, but for me, doing this book, writing this book, really, like I said, did a number for me. It did a number in healing, because as God was healing me, because like in the beginning, I felt like, okay, God, there's something there, but I kept getting stuck feeling like, well, God, I don't know what to write. But the more I sat down to it, the more I sat down with it, and the more I just really surrendered to God and just allowed him to deal with me personally, the more came. And the more I understood, and even the more I understood the purpose of this book, and it was able to come forth and come out of me, and I was able to birth it, of course, with him, partnered with him. And so I'm truly thankful. Like I said, my life has changed. God has just been doing so much in it. He's been doing so much in it. And even now, when I look back over the things, like I said, when I first came back, okay, and the things that the Lord just began to show me and tell me, like it's all making sense. Okay, it's all making sense. And even though it was years ago, even though I'm still hanging on to dreams that I had years ago that haven't come to pass yet, visions, prophetic words received that have not come to pass yet, I'm seeing them in the word. Like I'm seeing the fulfillment of them incoming. I'm seeing the fulfillment of some things already, of course, but I'm seeing the fulfillment of those things incoming because of my obedience, even in this. And so I made this video today just to encourage, of course, all of my videos, I just want to encourage y'all, but also just to update you guys and to tell you to keep hanging on to what it is that God has said. And if there's something that God's asking you to do that seems unexpected, or that seems totally outside of your comfort zone, or maybe you're telling yourself, nah, I couldn't see myself doing that. I can't see myself being that, or I could never see myself. I want you to come out of agreement with that never. Okay. First things first, I want you to come out of agreement with that never. I want you to renounce that never, okay? And I want you to receive what God is saying. I want you to receive what God has said, what he has spoken over you, what he has actually called you to, because many of us have actually gotten off on a tangent. Okay, have gotten sidetracked and have gone to things that accommodate who we are, or who we are, outside of our identity in Christ. If I could just be frank, many of us growing up, and I talk about that in here with childhood trauma, we grow up in this shell of a person, and we grow up who we really are, we don't know, and who we don't know until we come into relationship with God, or come into covenant relationship with God, that we then realize and even have our identities established in him. And then we begin our identity and our purpose. They're tied together. Who we are, and what we're here to do, they're tied together. Your purpose matters to who you were created to be, and even who you were created by. So all those things matter, but many of us have, because of the traumas and because of the way that life has gone about around us, because of the curses and things, because of the things that just have been existing in our lives, things that have happened to us, we have formed our lives around the identity that we had to create to survive. And so we are in a survival state, even doing things that we think are purpose, or that we think are, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is what I should be doing, because it's comfortable and because it just seems to fit who you are now. But even through this, my prayer is that you will see that there is someone that God has called you to be, that he He's created you to be, and is calling you to be right now. And there's something better. And so when he comes to you and he presents that thing to you that's completely out your comfort zone, I encourage you, I implore you, I beseech you, brethren, to follow it up, and to pursue it, because what it's going to do, and even the pursuit of that thing, what the pursuit of that thing is going to do in your life, it's going to, when I tell you, if you really want some personal or self-development, pursue purpose. If you really want to see yourself develop, if you really want to see yourself, be grown up and changing for good, pursue purpose. Because when you pursue that uncomfortable thing, or that thing outside of your comfort zone, or that thing that really speaks to who you actually are, and who you actually created to be, and who created you, that does something else in you, and it really is what makes you new. It really makes you, like, you come out on the other end like, wow, I definitely didn't see myself doing it, but I thank God that I did. I thank God that I pursued it. I thank God. I thank God that I did, because if I hadn't, I would not have obtained all the promises that he has for me. If I hadn't, I would not have obtained all the blessings that were upon my life, even that were supposed to be upon my bloodline. I would not have obtained my inheritance. If I had not, I would not. Okay. And so if I had not written this book, y'all, if I had not written this book, okay, I would not have been able to see. I would not be able to see. I would not be able to obtain if I had not just surrendered to him and said, okay, God, I can't avoid it anymore. I can't avoid myself. And especially as much as I desire to go deeper with you, God, then I'm going to have to believe you in this. I'm going to have to trust you in this, and trusting in you in this has really gotten me more than I ever could have gotten by myself. Okay. Because that's what we think sometimes. I can do bad all on myself. Well, let me tell you, you can do much better with God, and it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. I know you hear people making the videos and things about the waiting seasons, or waiting. And it took 10 years for me to get my promise, etc., etc. And it seems like such a long time, but I promise, even in the meantime, what God takes care of, or what he's taking care of, and what he takes care of in you, I promise you, it is so worth it. I promise you. And I think even I have so much hope, even in the dreams and things, like I said, the dreams that I've had that I'm still waiting to come to pass. Like where I have come now even gives me more hope in those things, that God, I'm going to see that. I'm going to see those things. And I know that even now you're preparing me for that. You're preparing me to walk that thing out. Okay. And so I take joy even in this process, and let you do whatever you need to do. And even if I don't see it till I'm 35, God, I'm okay with that. If that's what you set for my timeline, I'm okay with that. But whatever it is, if I don't see it till then, God, I'm okay with that. If I don't see it in this year or this year coming, God, I'm okay with that, because I know that what you are doing, or what you are going to do in this year, God, is going to still prepare my way, or prepare the pathway for that. It's still going to walk me into that. Because why? Because all of it, I'm pursuing purpose. In all of it, I'm pursuing him. In all of it, I am still doing things that are working for my good. All of it is working for my good. And that's been the biggest scripture, even for basis of this book, and even just for my life, that has just encouraged me to keep going, is that all things work for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Nothing is a waste. Okay. Nothing is a waste at all. Nothing. Okay. And I know we hear that, and it's cliche to say, it's almost cliche to say, but I promise you, okay, I promise you, when you really get to that space with God, you find that not a thing goes to waste. Now I think you're going to look back one day and be like, dang, I am so glad. That 1 month where I felt like I wasn't doing nothing, or that 1 month where I felt like I was fighting, well, it was worth it. it was worth it, because if I had skipped that month, I wouldn't even be who I am now. I would not even have the patience that I have now. I would not even have the faith and the fight and faith that I have now if I had not, you know what I'm saying? So bless the Lord. On today, I wanted to come and just update y'all on what's going on. I want to tell y'all go get this book, Broken Bones Do Heal. It is, like I said, it's available on Amazon. And I'm going to drop the links. Okay, of course, I'm going to drop the links for you guys. You can get a copy, a direct copy, or you can get it from Amazon. But I want y'all to check this. I want y'all to read it. It's worth the read. One of my prayers of this book is that it plants a seed in the hearts of the individuals who read it, of those who is meant to have. My goal with this book, I'm not coming to try to sell this book and to just, oh God, I just want to make money off like this. It's not about that. It's about all of the eyes that will be open. It's about all the hearts that will be open, all of the minds that will be able to understand all the revelations. And it's more so about reflection as well. All the reflections that will be had from this book, from reading this book, that will actually draw people to him. My goal with this is not to cause people to come to me, or not to cause people to flock to me. The Bible even says, if I be lifted up, okay, Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. So my goal is to lift him up. And in this, my goal is to lift him up, to really just glorify him, and to really just acknowledge the love of God through Christ, and how grace has really saved me, and how God really can transform us with his love, how he can bring us from pain to purpose with his love, how he can literally heal us with our love, with his love, deliver us with his love. And I want people to have hope in that. I want people to find hope in that there's still hope, okay? That even in this day of time where it feels like there's no way out, where it feels like, what in the world, I've been living like this for 20 years or however many years, there's no point in changing. I pray that this book brings hope to you, okay? Brings you hope, to tell you that, look, I did it. And for a long time, I thought I was fine. For a long time, I thought I was fine, because we just go about operating in such ways. I thought I was fine. I didn't think anything was wrong with me. I knew I was suppressing things. I knew I was holding things back, but I didn't think anything was wrong. And I didn't think that those things was standing in the way of me obtaining what God had for me. And so I needed that hope. And I know there's someone else who needs that hope as well. So y'all go get this book, okay? And when you read it, definitely go back, leave a review on Amazon, with your feedback. What this book was able to even plant in your heart. And I pray even then that whatever it plants, that God may send another to water, and that he will bring the increase, okay? So I thank y'all, and I just thank y'all even just for sticking by me, for those who have been subscribed or following me for a long time. I just thank God for you as well. And I just want to invite you guys to even go follow me on Instagram at It's Just Jamisha, and also my daily devotional, or my devotional page at The Redeemed J. I want you guys to follow me there, okay? And my prayer is that I will even be able to continue to come back and to just share with you, testify more, and share with you guys what God has shared with me, the revelations and things that he's given to me that could help you even beyond this book, y'all. So again, y'all, thank y'all. I love y'all so much, and may God truly bless you, okay? Today, before the year is out, I pray that he blesses you, that he blesses your household, okay? And that he does something in your life, okay, that turns everything around and brings you straight to him, okay? And that's in Jesus' name, okay? Amen.